Hello friends, this is Durga from IT University. As part of this video, we'll talk about decision statements. And before talking about decision statements and if-else conditions, let us talk about a primitive type called boolean. So boolean is a type where it holds true or false. Okay. So you can see here, I am declaring a variable a by name with value true. We can also store false in it. So it only have true or false. You cannot store anything else. Okay, and typically we don't use boolean like the way we use integers. Mostly the true or false is generated as part of the functions. Sorry, as part of the if condition. So that's where the decision statements or if else conditions comes into picture. Okay, so the first thing, one of the example of using if condition is to check if two variables are equal or not. Okay, that is a very basic usage of the if condition. So we already have x and y as two variables. Okay, now let us say I want to check whether x and y are equal or not. If x, so here to check whether two variables are equal or not, variables, when I say variables, it represent they are of primitive type. So if you want to check two primitive variables are equal, you have to say if x equal to, so x double equal to. If you use single equal to is primarily for assignment. Earlier, when I say int x equal to 5, int y equal to 6, we are assigning 5 to x and 6 to y. Now we are trying to compare whether those two are equal. So for that, we have to use x double equal to y, and then so whenever you write if condition, uh, there will be a block of code which will be writing. We will not be writing just one statement. If you have just one statement that as part of that if condition, you don't need to specify the curly braces. So even for the main function, right, main function, and also for the add function which we have created earlier, we have started and ended with curly brace. So this is called as block of code. Okay, so even with if condition or any programming constructs such as while loop, for loop, etc., typically we will have multiple lines of code. Whenever you have multiple lines of code, you have to use curly braces. If you don't have multiple lines of code, only the next line will be considered as within the scope of the if condition or while loop or for loop, which we will be seeing later. So here in this case, I just need to print whether x equal to y or not. Okay, so one line is enough, so I don't need to specify. Curly braces and write it in a block. I can finish off with one statement. So here I can say system dot out dot println x equals to y. Okay, so when you use these operators such as double equal to check whether both are equal or not equal to, if you want to check not equal to, you have to say like this. So these things actually result in boolean value. So if both x and y are equal, then it will result in true. If they are not equal, so when I say x double equal to y, if both are equal, then the expression will return true. If both are not equal and if we are trying to use x double equal to y, then the expression will return false. So if it is true, then only it will go to the if block. Otherwise, it will not go to the if block. It will go to the next line of the code, or it will go to else block. Okay. So if you want to say if x equal to y returns true, I want to print x equal to y. If it returns false, I want to print x not equal to y. So I can say else here, system dot out dot println x not equal to y. Okay, and then you can actually run. Because x is not equal to y, it will go to else part. Uh, it returns false, so it actually go to the else part, and whatever is there in else, it will print here. But in some of the cases, so here we are only using two variables and trying to compare. So it will only return either true or false. But in some cases, it might result in more scenarios. In that we can use else if also. Okay. So for example, instead of comparing x equal to y and printing this statement, let's say I want to check if x is greater than y. Then there could be three scenarios: x can be greater than y, x can be equal to y, and x can be less than y. In that case, what we can do is x equal to y, it is we just want to print x equals to y, else if x greater than y, I want to print x is greater than y. Oh, you also typed. So,
Oh.
okay, so you can actually now add else part also to it, if else if and then else. You take care of it. So you go to the end of the line and hit enter and type else.
Oh, okay. Else if
No, there is no need to do else if now. Already we have covered other two scenarios. So whatever is not satisfied in those two scenarios, it will go to else.
and we still don't need the block of code. I mean, you don't need the
Yeah, because we are only using one statement for each of these things. So each one is a different block. If is one block, else if is another block, and else is another block, and each of them have only one statement. So we don't need to specify in curly braces. Okay. Now right click on it. Okay, 5 is less than 6.
change numbers.
Okay, now let us try to compare the HW and S and see if both are equal, and I will let you to write that portion where you compare HW and S and see if both the strings are equal. If both are equal, it should print both the strings are equal, otherwise it should print both are not equal.
Okay, H, W, and S.
Yeah.
Okay, so there. So then over here, I have to do if hmm,
Just say both strings are equal. Don't need, no need to say.
yeah.
Just give one statement. Both strings are equal.
Else. Okay.
Yeah. Now run it. So why it got different strings?
Because oh hmm,
So I will explain. So why it is getting different as different strings is you are trying to compare two objects. You are not trying to compare two variables. Okay. So when you say SW equal to HW, it actually so when it comes to object, right, it will have memory. It will be all the objects will be stored in memory. And when you use S equal to HW, it will actually compare the byte address within the memory or references of the objects within the memory. As we created two objects, as we have created two objects S and HW, it will be stored in different places in the memory, which means those two will have a different address within the memory. Because the addresses are not same, it is saying different strings. Okay, so it is not actually comparing the contents of the object, it is actually comparing the address within the memory of those objects. That is the behavior of when you try to use w equal to against objects compared to variables. Okay, so now you have to check the functions that are available on string, and you have to use appropriate function to compare two strings.
hmm, okay. So let me see. It'll be here, right?
Yeah.
Why do I have a feeling it might be this one?
Pardon me?
Content equals.
No, content equals. But if you see, yeah, content equals can be, but content equals takes char sequence as the parameter, not string. In this case, both S and HW are strings, so we cannot use content equals.
This one.
Content equals cannot be used.
Okay.
That one also it takes string buffer.
Hmm.
Okay. So equals is the one, even though you are seeing object. Okay,
Yeah.
object is the parent of all the classes. Again, when we talk about object oriented concepts, I will explain it what is that object means. But for now, you have to use equals.
Okay.
So s dot equals, and it takes one argument. You have to pass the second object of type string in this case, which is HW.
Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me run that. See. And it says, oh, both strings are okay.
Okay, so that is how it works. So this equals actually compare the contents of the objects, whereas double equal when you try to use it against the objects, it actually see whether we are referring to the same object or not, which means the address of that object has to match with the address of the other object. So only when so instead of saying so you already say s equal to new string, right? If you say string hw equal to s, you are assigning the existing object to hw.
String HW is equal to yes.
Yeah, so just say string hw equal to s. No, remove double quotes. The variable name yes, the object name yes.
Okay.
Alphabet s, alphabet s.
S.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
That mean much. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So now uh, you are representing hw also as object reference. Okay. So now if you say hw equal to yes, it will say both strings are equal.
Let me see.
No, you don't have that double equal now.
Oh.
So we are yeah. Now if you run it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because hw and s are representing the same object. Earlier those two are two different objects, even though contents are equal. As they are two different objects, it says different strings when you try to compare using double equal to operator. But when you use s dot equals, it will actually check the contents of the objects. As both are equal, it printed both strings are equal. Now, as hw is assigned with s, both are pointing to same object, one object. So as both are pointing to same object, s double equal to hw is returning true, and hence you got both strings are equal.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, a final thing, you can also do system dot out dot println.
System dot out. Okay.
Just system dot out dot println, and s double equal to hw,
Okay.
and then run it.
Oh.
So whenever you use double equal these operators, right, double equal to, not equal to, etc., internally
Yeah.
those expressions return uh, boolean, true or false.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm running out of the battery, and also we can conclude the session today. I will review the exercises as part of the next session. I just want to cover up to this so that you have enough material to explore it further. And next session also, next two sessions also will be very important. We will be covering while loop and for loop, and then I will give bunch of I will actually try to write some programs, around 6 to 7 programs, and then I will give another 6 to 7 programs as exercise, so that you are comfortable to translate a problem statement into a solution using programming.
Okay.
Okay, so I will review the answers of the last exercise as part of the next session. For now, just try to understand different methods you have in string. Try to create simple methods and all. The reason why I'm not giving exercises now is because unless you cover for loop, while loop, etc., it doesn't make much sense to give exercises to you. That's why I'm not giving exercises. Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right.